So this is the T114, a tier 5 US premium at a BR of 6.7 that will cost you just over 8,000 GE, so certainly not a cheap little vehicle. Now, the vehicle does often get overlooked and forgotten, which is perfectly understandable, since its release, bigger and better tier 5 and 6 premiums have come along to the United States tech tree, so simply, if you're looking to grind, there's no reason to get this vehicle. Now, any player that looks at it will also notice that the two-man crew and the massive lack of armor will not come as any positive. In fact, they will come to the reasonable conclusion that this is simply cannon fodder for aircraft, tanks, artillery strikes, pretty much anything with a gun, which is fair. They are definitely not wrong about that. But do not be fooled, this vehicle is not exactly an easy kill in the hands of someone who knows what they're doing. If you can effectively use the auto-loading 106mm recoilless rifle and the mobility and small size, it will prove to be quite effective, and not only against tanks, but also aircraft. And if artillery is being dropped on you, well, you better use this thing's great mobility to get the hell out of there, because otherwise you're probably going to explode. Now, the recoilless rifle fires what is listed as a heat round high explosive anti-tank, although the round itself is fin stabilized, so this might just be an error on the stat card, although it is more specifically noted that this is an anti-tank grenade, which has over 380mm of best effective penetration. Pretty damn good there. So in most cases, it will go into whatever you shoot it at, and it will go boom. And the enemy tank will likely go boom, which can definitely be entertaining at times. You do also have access to a coaxial 50 cal machine gun mounted next to the gun, although this does not have much ammo in each drum, running out after about 20 rounds being fired. I personally do not use this gun much, I only really use it to destroy light obstacles in front of the vehicle as I'm driving. When it comes to negatives for this vehicle, the only thing I can really think of is that the small amount of traverse can be a little bit irritating. Obviously, for negatively traversing the gun, you have the entire front of the chassis in front of you, so that's really going to be a limiting factor. And also positively traversing vertically with the gun, there's not really anywhere for the back of the gun to go as it descends while the gun is traversing, so you can only vertically traverse a fairly small amount. On most flat maps, not going to be an issue, but if you're on a predominantly hilly map, like Maginot Line, this could provide to be a slight issue. Another thing is that the gun is in no way stabilized. Of course, at 6.7 BR, most things are not stabilized. Although this is a small, fast vehicle, the gun does jump around quite a bit while on the move, which, neither of these, none of them are massive issues. Although, at least for me, they didn't really hinder my experience much, but they're just minor things that might be worth mentioning. On a final note, the camouflages for the vehicle. Here's a quick flick through them all. They're all standard American type camos. We have seen them on many other American ground vehicles in the game. Not really anything new here to talk about. So with all that said, let's get into some gameplay. A single game. Now usually I would do a few games per video, although this one game fairly well sums up this vehicle as a whole. It really does demonstrate how being small, fast, it's very advantageous on certain maps, especially in this case, Alaska, where there's lots of buildings, which does give you a lot of space to hide and just generally be sneaky. Now the game begins as you would expect. Most of each team are completely wiped out within the first 5 or 6 minutes, leaving a small amount on either team, although in this game, no team was especially more powerful than the other. For the full run of the game, this was a constant struggle from one side to the other to cap the points and maintain our tickets. For both sides, it was fairly even, which is really, I find those kind of games really satisfying actually, where it's an even fight for the whole game. And the points, the cap points were constantly in the swing as to who was in control, and surprisingly enough, I was able to survive the entire 20-minute game in this lightly armoured vehicle that is small, that has a 2-man crew. And, you know, all the factors here just made this game all the more satisfying when we eventually won the game. Now, personally, I love the games where you really have to just work for the win. Feels really earned, and this game was certainly no exception. So let's get right into this. So my first kill was on a Jagdpanther, a vehicle that from the front can be tricky occasionally, but from the side with the moderately flat armour, this round really is no issue. As you see, went straight in, ammunition exploded, not a problem at all. So after that, as you saw a minute ago, I did cap the C point, so after that I then move on towards the B point, which was captured by the enemy, but by the time I get there has been captured by the friendly team. And as I'm moving, I see a pesky little IS-3 going for the point, and oof, straight into the back of the turret, knocks out the majority of his crew, giving me yet another kill on a heavy tank of all things, which is definitely, again, rather satisfying. So as I'm moving along, I now see a T-44 going from the other side of the B point. These guys really do want to cap that point, and I take him out. Single shot to the engine, which knocks out a few crew members and destroys his engine, so he cannot move. And the second shot simply goes into the back of the turret to destroy the remainder of the crew. Next up, we have a Panther. He fires, he's got a reload, so I know it's safe. Pull out, shot to the front, and bye-bye Panther. Goes in, knocks out the machine gunner, and sets off the ammunition load. Pretty good stuff there. So next up, I head towards the A point, the only point that I have not sort of gone towards yet, and, you know, currently capped by the enemy, so I move in, and it's looking safe, and then suddenly, oof, a shot goes straight past me. What was that? Well, I do see a cupola moving along just below the brow of the hill, and it looks like it has an ATGM, so I'm presuming it's a BMP, a rather dangerous vehicle, especially considering my lack of armour. So I move into the point, get to the lower ground, so I have some kind of cover, and over the hill he comes, Mr. BMP. Just before he fires at me, I get one into the front of him, and, well, it's high explosive. He's a lightly armoured infantry fighting vehicle. The result seems obvious. And as soon as I cap the A point, I drive away, and then it gets capped again. Good stuff. So I move in, take cover next to this building, zoom in, and see, what is that? Oh, it's a tank destroyer. So what I do is, since this is high explosive, take out the fencing, fire a shot through, straight into the side armour, another Jagdpanther. Bye-bye, Jagdpanther. Once capping the A point back yet again, I move towards the C and B points to give my team some backup, and I find an IS-2. First shot doesn't do a huge amount, knocks out the gunner, who will likely be replaced within a matter of seconds, and also damages some minor drive system components. Not really a big deal, but you know, he's sort of hiding there, might be repairing, so I head in. I decide just to rush him. It's a small vehicle, I'm fast, I have an autoloader, I'm ready to fire, rush, and kill. Hits sort of near the front of the turret, goes in, ammunition load goes up. A pretty explosive kill, I think you would agree. And next up, ooh, hello there, what are you? Are you a T-44? Yes, you are. Boom, T-44 100, shot to the side, knocks out the crew, giving me another kill. And after that, I then cap the B point, although first, I drive off a little bit, purely because I thought there was an enemy in the base, but there was not, so that wasn't an issue. Once the B point's capped, I head off towards C, knock out another IS-2, this time with a shot just to the side section of the upper frontal plate, going in, again, knocking out the crew, giving me another kill, and, you know, after that, continue to move along, head back towards B, because, oh look, a little SPAA is capping it. This is the point where the enemy team really did start to spawn in their sort of later lineup vehicles, SPAAs, things that you really wouldn't be taking in at the beginning of the game. I actually kill another one of those in just a minute, once the B point has been captured. As you can see now, I am capping it. I'm not really showing any of the caps because, you know, I was just sitting there capping the point, kind of boring, although I thought, you know, I'll just quickly speed one up just to show you me capping, and that beautiful FV4005 driving by. And as I am doing so, the FV4005 is killed by a ZSU-37, another SPAA. As I said, they're getting into their later spawn vehicles, they're getting into their SPAAs, their lower rated tanks for this lineup. Fair enough, does mean that there are some slightly easier kills for me, so what I do is I begin to head back to B, because, you know, yet again, they are capping the B point. So I head back, and what do I see? It's another SPAA. So there he is, and boom. Shot to the face, kills the gunner, explodes and knocks out the rest of the crew. Another easy kill, and actually once that happened, the point was not capped because the ZSU was there. He was just killed by an M46, and I was attacked by what I presume to be a P47. A few shots in, damages the engine, knocks out a track, it did damage. I had to repair the vehicle, but as you can see, I wasn't quite killed by the aeroplane, but I was damaged. Once that happened, I capped the A point for the final time, and we won the game. This game in full was 20 minutes, just over 20 minutes in fact, and I was able to survive the entire game. Only got shot at twice, both times of which were by aircraft, so I would count myself pretty damn lucky in this game. 11 kills, 7 base caps, not too bad. And as you can see, I really did benefit with almost 200,000 Silver Lions earned and a fair bit of RP towards my currently being researched tank, which is actually within the RP efficiency range for the T114, which certainly helps. So I think this game, generally, it did well to demonstrate the positives and in some cases the negatives of the T114. For the most part, the positives being sneaky, being fast, and that autoloader really helps, especially with the autoloader in a few situations you saw there. Single shot into an enemy tank, doesn't quite kill him, does a lot of damage, may be able to shoot at me shortly after, but due to the speed of the autoloader, it just doesn't give him that chance, and that second shot goes straight in and just finishes them off. So really an incredibly fun vehicle. If you enjoy the heavy tank, pushing directly in the line of fire type playstyle, this isn't for you. But if you enjoy being sneaky breaky, hiding around corners, just being really in sort of obscure hiding spots and just generally sneaking up on enemy vehicles, as you know, this thing's quite small, especially if you cover it in bushes on sort of countryside maps, you're going to be almost invisible. This is perfect. So this is a perfect environment for these vehicles. If you enjoy doing that, then this might just be for you. On the other hand, if you're looking for a grinding vehicle to grind out the tech tree, I wouldn't advise getting this, purely because there are better vehicles for grinding. T29, XM1 to name a few. If you're grinding, you're going to want something robust, and something that can at least take some hits. And especially if you're grinding out most of the tree, you're going to be playing this vehicle a lot. Getting one-shotted and killed by aircraft will just lead to frustration with the T114, so if you want a grinding vehicle, get the T29, get the XM1, something like that. The T114 though, on the other hand, of course, as you've seen in this video, does have its merits. So I would say this is really a perfect backup vehicle. I in fact, despite its 6.7 BR, I use this as a backup for even a top tier lineup. The rounds are absolutely insane. They will go through the sides of almost any MBT. So really there's no excuse not to use this in up tiers. It's a good all-round vehicle, although as I said, more of a backup, not really a main grinding vehicle. Anyway though, it is now time to end the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, please consider smashing the like button, maybe even subscribe to the channel. If you do, that would be massively appreciated. As always, please let me know what you think of the T114 or the video in the comments. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.